Secretary Donnelly, General Shorts, thank you for being here today, and thank you for your service to this country. Secretary Donnelly, I appreciated speaking to you, with you in February about the proposed retirements of the B-1 fleet. At that time, you assured me that my staff and I would receive a detailed briefing in the coming weeks. 6 weeks have passed. Can you tell me when we can expect a briefing?
Very soon, Senator, that work is coming to closure. The chief and I have had preliminary briefs sort of outlining how this will work. As you're aware, the B-1s are deployed, of course, at Ellsworth and also at Dyess Air Force Base. And so we're sort of working through the details of where those aircraft will come from. I can tell you the solution will involve both bases, and it'll be taking into account that the schoolhouse is at Dyess, so there's this, it's not completely an apples-to-apples comparison in terms of how those adjustments are made. But we're working through final stages of that, should have that ready for your staffs in the next week or two.
Mr. Secretary, how has the Air Force determined that 60 aircraft will be enough to meet both current and future operation needs?
Well, Senator, this is for the B-1 and for other aircraft in our fleet. This is a fleet management issue in terms of how much resources are available and what draw those fleets are making on our maintenance requirements going forward. And it is part, I think, of a pattern of managing a fleet management across the Air Force that we have often in the past adjusted the size of the fleet by a few tails at a time to help provide the resources to help modernize the fleet, in this case to upgrade some cockpit avionics for the B-1, make some other modifications, and also meet the increasing requirements for maintenance for this aircraft as well. So those are the factors that go into the sizing.
Senator Johnson, I would only mention that it's important to take the entire bomber fleet into consideration when we address a question such as you asked, that it is the 60 or 66 B-1s, but it's also the 76 B-52s, it's the 20 B-2s that we take into consideration in making that assessment.
Yeah. Our efforts, Mr. Secretary, our efforts still on track for the MQ-9 squadron to arrive at Ellsworth Air Force Base in early 2012. Does the Air Force still estimate the assignment of about 280 personnel to Ellsworth to support this mission? General?
Yes, it is still on track. It would be about 280 folks. And again, that particular unit is part of our growth path to 65 orbits of remotely piloted aircraft capability by 2013.
General, the extended combat period for the Powder River Training Complex environmental impact statement ended on January 20, 2011. When does the Air Force anticipate issuing the final environmental impact statement on the proposed expansion of the training area?
Senator, I don't have that right off the top of my head. With your permission, I'd like to present that for the record.
Yeah. When the Air Force Financial Services Center was created, it was touted as a way to save money and promote efficiency. Now, just 5 years later, I understand the Air Force is proposing undoing many of these changes. Has the Air Force come to determine that these changes are necessary? Can you speak specifically as to what services will be sent back out to the bases and what financial services will remain at Ellsworth Air Force Base. How many jobs, both military and civilian, will be impacted by these changes?
Well, sir, we are working through the numbers that you referred to as part of our briefing to you in the next couple of weeks, which will include the B1 adjustments you previously referenced. Our experience on the consolidation of financial services simply was that with respect to military, and I believe it was travel pay as well, there were individual specific changes for each airman that would be more effectively accomplished in terms of adjustments to their travel pay if we had personnel more closely connected to these airmen. And at the recommendation of our major commands, the financial management community made the decision to redistribute those folks from a centralized posture at Ellsworth back to the major commands. So that's the big picture for what is intended.
Yeah.
We are working through the numbers, and you'll get a full briefing on that in the next couple of weeks.
Senator, I would only add that part of the reason this has occurred, sort of the head fake, if you will,
Yeah.
is that the enterprise resource planning system that was supposed to underwrite this, it's a defense system called DIMERS, never came to pass.
Yeah.
And so given the absence of that architecture, it became necessary to move back away from a centralized model to something more distributed.